All right, so like I said before, thanks so much for doing this. My first question to you is tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you started in the community.
Yeah. And when you say community, are you referring to just therapy or like wellness in general?
Yeah, just kind of in general, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so my name's Jasmine. I grew up in San Diego, Bay Area, and kind of just slid my way up the West Coast. But yeah, I have been into wellness since I was a kid. It really started like in middle school. I didn't have a lot of control over things. So I was like, okay, like how am I going to start taking control of my health again? And so I found like clean eating and yoga and meditation and feng shui, and then like astrology, and kind of went down the spiritual rabbit hole throughout high school. So I always found like yoga studios predominantly as my safe haven, but I knew that there was a lot of like mental things for me to clean. Like I'm a very like elemental earth person, so I like to ground these topics. And so, yeah, I ended up, I knew that I wanted to be a therapist my whole life, and I knew I wanted to be like a yoga teacher and help people. But I didn't like, when it came to graduating college, I didn't want to just do the plan that I had for myself. I wanted to like surprise myself with an adventure. And then I ended up getting a free application for grad school. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll keep doing it. And then yeah, COVID started and I was in grad school. And then COVID started for the middle of it when I was getting my therapy license. And so I ended up getting trained in yoga, Reiki, tantric meditation. At the same time, I was learning these like concepts in grad school. At the same time, Black Lives Matter was happening when I was in Spokane, a very like conservative, not super diverse, like racially diverse town. So there was a lot going on when I entered the world of like, oh, I'm really going to hold space in a professional way now.
Yeah, we're all too familiar with 2020. We all know how that went down. My next question is like, what tell me a little bit about the work that you do. What's sort of the day-to-day like?
Yeah, it's an interesting question right now because I'm like kind of scattered. So I am an independent contractor in my therapy world. I also teach at 5 yoga studios, and then I host workshops and retreats and collaborate with different like coalition entities for decolonization across these systems. So day to day, I guess Sundays is my yoga days. Mondays are my admin days and like meeting days. Tuesday and Thursday, I work at a school up in Arlington. So I'm a school-based mental health therapist. So I work with kids that are struggling with different kinds of really just like a range of things. Predominantly, it's like anxiety, depression, or grief, trauma processing, or yeah, just like different social service needs that they might have. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, I see my clients with a private practice, like a private group practice that I'll be switching into my own private practice soon. But yeah, there I work with people who are reintegrating out of prison. So they got out early of prison on an early release program because they are a parent, and so I teach parenting classes, I do integration work, and then I work with young adult women predominantly, but really anyone across the adult spectrum who are interested in like bringing spirituality and bringing decolonization into the therapy room. But yeah, I work with a pretty big spread of what's encapsulated.
Yeah. So my next question is what sorts of methods or approaches do you use in your work? Because like you said, you have a variety of different hats. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah.
Yeah, thanks for your question. Um, I like to take the same approach for everything that I do. And so, given like the somatic knowledge that I get from yoga, and then the energetic knowledge that I get from the spiritual practices that I engage in and that I'm trained in, I take a polyvagal approach where it's like grounded in the nervous system. So, utilizing the body to communicate to the brain that we are safe, that we can be present, without trying to outthink our problems, because that tends to take so much longer. And I don't know if it works. Maybe, but it's really hard. And so, yeah, I really work with like finding ways that can address what we're able to tolerate. So we have like this window of tolerance, and I like to like And so when we have stressors, like I didn't get a lot of sleep, my partner is not doing the dishes, or my best friend just got a new kitten and I'm babysitting, so it gets bigger. So it's like these things that we don't control kind of are taking up space in our nervous system's reactivity with like the gas and the brakes. And so through toning this vagus nerve, we can kind of like soothe all of that noise. And so if we are in hyperarousal or hypoarousal, there's different coping skills. But essentially, I'm just helping people find body-based coping skills that work for them, and then stabilizing the body so that we can start to either question anxious thoughts, um, reprogram our behaviors through behavioral activation, like building dopamine. Um, but yeah, to put it in like clinical terms, I take a polyvagal approach with an existential person-centered theoretical
Mm-hmm.
modality.
My next question is, what impact does this kind of work have on the greater community? What if people said, like in like your private practice, about like when they come see you and discuss their problems?
Yeah, honestly, it's been really honoring to be doing this work during the eclipse, because I've been recently incorporating astrology. And in astrology, the eclipse is like a huge like earthquake for your soul to like find some endings and beginnings. And so it feels like I am this like life birth doula, like this death life, like death rebirth doula, as I walk people through the transformation of the colonized world inside of themselves to the decolonized world inside of themselves. And it's different for everybody, but ultimately, what I get to do as a space holder is simply just witness people being courageous, people being honest, people taking accountability and responsibility for their emotions and actions, and people being really committed to their growth. And through my witnessing and through my believing in them, we're able to walk that path together. But I really just get to sit there and be in freaking awe of how amazing people really are.
Mm-hmm. But to kind of wrap this up, what can people take away from this conversation? How can this type of work, help people improve their confidence, and like kind of their sort of well-being in themselves?
Yeah. On that tone of decolonization right now, that is like my biggest mission in this world. And as it ripples through the individual and the work that I do, it's really to remember and reclaim that we actually don't need anything outside of ourselves, that our deepest need as a human being is a sense of belonging. And when we can fully integrate that we belong to the earth, like we don't own anything, we belong to the earth, we belong to ourselves, we belong to each other. And when we remember that, like, there's this inherent sense of belonging, we don't need anything outside of ourselves. We can use our body to regulate, we can use our hearts and our communication to build relationships, and we can tend with the land and work from this economy of gifting because we are in abundant overflow. So, just creating this inherent sense of abundance and inherent, like, I am a part of something and it's always been there. It's something that I hope people can feel through this kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right.